Hi guys, Ebony Wilson here. Thank you for tuning in to the Exposed documentary series. This is an independent production that tells the unheard stories of employees at the hands of corrupt spiritual practitioners. I'm telling my personal story, in addition to the stories of people, colleagues, and friends who have not had an outlet in which to tell their stories and relay what really happened to them just in the last year. My aim is to bring awareness to those who have not had a voice in this community, those who were gravely mistreated, isolated, abandoned. It is my hope that you will listen to their stories and know what really happened in order to make your own informed opinion and decision moving forward. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to click on this video. If you would like to learn more about our cause and about this documentary series, please visit www.exposeddoc.com. I look forward to seeing you soon, and thank you for watching.
So the first and the most important thing is we only want to work with facilitators who are in their heart. We do not want spiritual egos because they can come in and infest us like cockroaches. You know what I mean? So the first thing that we have to take care of, a lot of the Houston, Texas people, I feel, fall under the category of the egos, even though they may not know it. They may be good people. So we have to be very watchful when we pick people. We want people in their heart.
And it's not for the casual passerby to just come and join us for one party. We want people who are aligned with the mission, and we want to create long-term relationships with people.
Good morning, Ebony. How are you? Hey, I wanted to leave you a super neutral message. And think of this, don't let your sensors go up. Think of this as a super real, super heartfelt message that I'm leaving you. But you need to know that something's off in your field. And I don't know if you know this or not, but you're not the person that you were when you started working with us. When you started working with us, your work was exemplary. You were getting bonuses every month. We were giving you feedback and appreciation and praise every single month. You were acting like a leader. You were behaving like a master. And all of that has very, very, very rapidly and sharply declined. And we need you back up. We need you back fucking up as the master that you are. Whatever you need to do, do it.
Overall, I just feel like that environment was just, honestly, I could say it was lower than 3D.
There was some serious paper-trailed promises for my family, and to say they were not met is an understatement.
They always have something to, to make you work outside of your working hours, especially during the weekends.
And I just remember that I come to my senses in like a couple of seconds, and I can just see Siman filming me. And I just knew something was wrong there, because who the fuck would film you while you're going through such a distressing experience?
My name is Ebony Wilson. I am a filmmaker from South Carolina. Most recently, I was hired on as an editor and social media brand strategist for EldoRa and Siman. So we're recording just our chat with the former OC. My name's Ebony, former social media marketing SM strategist and editor for Eldora and Siman, and I'm here talking with Geraldine and Johnny, who are also all former employees of Eldora and Siman. I'm making this video today to document my personal experience with Eldora and Siman in the hopes of making my personal testimony available online for anyone who is considering working with Eldora and Siman or supporting them. I'll also be speaking with fellow former Office of Christ members, formerly employees of Eldora and Siman, who were also recently either terminated or quit due to inappropriate treatment in the workplace. Right now, we're making this video. This is just our opinion. This is just our opinion that we're putting out there into the world to say, hey, this was our experience with Eldora and Siman. You know, we're just retelling our story, basically. You make up your own minds to determine if you feel like you should continue supporting them or not. But we're just telling our story. That's legally really all we can do at this point, because they have no country jurisdiction that they're operating out of. Everything is online. They're not operating under their real names. We're not doing this for the purpose of money or monetization. The video that we publish will not be monetized on the internet. It's just sharing our information and letting people have their informed opinion. Like, none of us have had a chance to even talk since.
It's true. It's true. Sometimes I can be a bit ready to go at something a bit much when I should just, there's a nice process to it that we should really respect and get a lot from.
Like anyone who comes looking for spiritual guidance, when you come across Eldora and Siman, at first you genuinely feel as though you have stumbled upon the spiritual jackpot, so to speak. You feel that way. They are Ascension Guides and Master Teachers who go by the names of Eldora and Siman online. And through their courses, workshops, and events, they conduct healing practices with people from around the world.
I started to follow them because I've been on my awakening journey since last 2018. And they've been talking about spirituality, so I was really drawn to them.
It was like they were honest about stuff that other spiritual teachers weren't.
They're quirky, they're kind of out of this world, they're relatable.
Okay, are you guys ready? I'm so glad you brought this up.
I brought it on myself. Bring it on.
So Siman is a freaking... He has two faces, okay? He has two faces. 99% of the time, he's this perfect human being. So perfect that he's like a robot. So perfect, never gets mad, never projects, never gets angry, never has insecurities.
I still don't project when I'm in Ascension.
We'll get there. Never projects, no insecurities, never raises his voice, never speaks demeaning, never belittles anyone. Okay, he's like that kind of a guy. But when he's going through upgrades, he is like, literally, I said to him today, I said, you're like your father. He's like, no. What?
That's the worst. How could you say that?
He's like his father. He's
I'm
so
not like my father. My
the
father
way he
is very
talks,
pretty, no disrespect.
like he's so condescending.
No. I just want to be in my own space.
Like, I'll ask him something, and he'll say, what?
And in your journey, you may just kind of soak up information and things that they're telling you like a sponge, and you're not really paying attention to nuances and red flags, at least not at first. You're not.
They were really good, or Eldora, I think primarily her, was really good at making it sound like you were really lucky to find them, like,
yes,
like you were the special ones.
I'm definitely guilty of being a bit naive, but also there's an element where I can't really fathom on my own like such ideas that these guys would get involved with.
I don't think even it's not realistic of us to have the expectation that we're going to go out there and change everyone's mind about Eldora.
Yes.
Anyone.
Just like if you literally, and to those of you who do see this segment online, like if our testimony here is not enough to persuade you, then continue on your path, because I'm not even talking to you, I guess. Essentially, those of you who don't resonate or just don't get it at this point, you're wasting your time by even watching this video. It's like when the brainwashing was over, it was over. Like the moment I really stood back from this and looked at it for a second, I'm like, whoa, why am I falling for this bullshit right now? Like I just need to slap back in reality for just a second. Like, okay, pump the brakes. What am I looking at here? This is bullshit. This is corruption. This is, if you want to look at it, kind of like the dark, telling us exactly what they're going to do and doing it right to our face. That's exactly what they preach.
We are Ascension Guides. We are on a very, very specific path on planet Earth. We have been shown what we are here to do. We've been shown who we are. We are walking a very, very, I don't know how much of it you want to share, but we're walking a very, very strict path, okay? And what we're saying to you is that we play a part. Whether you come to our events, whether you watch us on YouTube, we are not here to play to your ego. Meaning, we're not here to say, we love you, thank you. We're not here to play small and please your ego and only choose safe topics.
Exactly. We're here to share the truth.
It's one of the many deceptions about following Eldora and Siman, but also about not trusting your own personal internal guidance.
Whatever you need to do, do it. Whatever you need to do, do it. This vortex does not deserve life force draining energy. This vortex deserves only masters, mastery. And you are a fucking master. So whatever you need to do, Ebony, to get back, you need to do it, because right now, whatever's going on in your field is not just affecting, it's actually affecting us. Like, you know how you're either an asset or you're a drain on the life force? When you first started with us, you were an asset. And right now, it literally feels like, holy shit, I need 2 people to just check your work. And that's not you. That's not the Ebony I know. So one thing that Siman said was maybe in the first month she was trying to prove herself and she was doing such a good job and now she's gotten comfortable. But I hope he's wrong, because that's terrible. If you need like constant, that's not, I don't even think that's the case, because you're not someone who constantly needs like babying to do your job. So if you're a fuck yes for this vortex is also a fuck yes for you. But as long as you can rise in your mastery and prove yourself, you need to go back to proving yourself, because right now you're behaving like an absolute junior, and you're not a junior, you're a master.
She told me I need to, prove myself for the company, and that she was in pronto, she was cutting my pay from being $2 into $1,777.
Who's talking?
That was Ebony.
Oh, I could not recognize her accent. I'm like, is Coach Kathy on our call? Like, I'm like, who the hell is that? Oh, there's Ebony.
I always kind of sense that, I don't know, maybe I triggered at least Eldora to a degree. Our biggest barrier always came down to communication. It was like we completely spoke different languages. We were all just trying to find the best means of moving forward, and oftentimes this meant putting in more work, because technically we're a startup, but not. They'd already been established online for years, but this was the first time truly making the individual practice into a business, and that happened during with the launch of the New Earth Mystery School, which I was a part of.
It's really happening. So I would love to announce we are finally bringing together a structured program where we, when I say we, I mean Siman, me, and the entire guides, our entire guides, the Order of Melchizedek, the Order of Rose, Metatron, Isis, everybody that we work with, Yeshua. We have finally got enough discipline in our lives where we can offer you programs on a monthly basis, an online community for our soul family, the New Earth Mystery School.
I think anyone who comes to know EldoRa and Siman, you typically find them through unconventional means. I know that I did. And I began following them, attending their workshops and meditations, things like that they were offering, services that they were offering online. I wanted to expand. I wanted to get to know myself better on a deeper intuitive level. I was looking for programs and things that could help me harness meditation and just enhance my own spiritual practice. I found that the workshops that I attended of theirs brought me really big breakthroughs, or so I felt that at the time, that I was really receiving healing and guidance.
So I just started watching them more and more, and all of a sudden I was just listening to them all day. And just like as I woke up in the morning, I put on their video and I started watching everything from the beginning. And I just had a feeling that someday I was going to meet them.
Can I hear about yourself? I don't really have any idea like what happened with you, and I'm interested to see how you are now and what you went through a little bit.
It's probably very similar to what many of us did, actually. It was kind of like, you know, I didn't go into this working with EldoRa and Siman thinking that anything was untoward, thinking that that I was getting myself into anything weird. And it's still hard to even kind of pinpoint exactly what started to transition or what led up to what. It was just like kind of energy just started shifting, and their treatment of me just kind of started changing over time. It wasn't like it was in my face abruptly all the time, but when what I first started noticing, I guess, was when I felt like I was starting to be kind of kicked out, if that makes sense. It was isolation. It was group like ganging up on me.
I worked with EldoRa and Siman for a total of 6 months, from roughly the middle of June until the end of November 2022. From that point in time, I was completely in the background. You probably only ever heard my name even mentioned a handful of times by EldoRa and Siman between the projects, the numerous projects that we worked on in that 5.5 to 6 month time span. So it would appear that the site for EldoRa and Siman has recently been updated, even at the time of making this documentary series. We can see that they have recently now, as of March 12th, 2023, updated their website from the previous version. But I was there the whole time, designing advertisements for the websites, handling the ad creation. I was designing the trailers that went up for their events, using the footage from the retreat that was hosted in Tulum, Mexico. I sent them a proposal showing a marketing plan of everything that I was qualified and could help them with, such as running their Facebook ads online, handling the advertising material and content creation for all of their social media channels. This was how I came on board working with EldoRa and Siman in the capacity.
We want people who are truly service to others, not like all about image, you know? So we're very particular. Actually, that I would say we're very particular
and
about.
Just to give you an idea how particular we are, we actually had a very well-renowned facilitator in Tulum that we even liked. We met her in person and we were like chatting, and we actually treated them out for dinner. And then something she said, like when we actually started talking about business, she came with this like upper hand attitude, like, you know what, let's talk, this is my price, but you know, I'll do it for you. There was no gratitude. And we said, thank you, have a nice day.
EldoRa, thank you so much for your message, and I am receiving and hearing all of your guidance through this. I will say My energy has been a little stagnated, and only because something has come up in my 3D experience that I had to deal with. It's a closing out situation from from my personal work. I'm having to close out a project from a distributor who my film is distributed by, and it came up suddenly, and it's taken up a lot of my time. That, though, doesn't play into my schedule with the OC. Just so you know, just for clarification, I typically start my day working at 10 a.m. or between 9 and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do this every day that I work. I wake up every morning at 6 o'clock to meditate. I'm in the gym by 7:30 for an hour to work out. Then I have to come home and walk my dogs and take care of a few things, eat breakfast, and then I'm usually in my room, my office, working from oftentimes 10 a.m. to 6:30, sometimes later. And more often than not, my days tend to run anywhere between 8 to 10 hours a day.
When I first came on board to work with EldoRa and Siman, they had asked me to set aside my working hours such that when I was on for them, I was solely on for them and I would not work for anyone else. So I came on board working, my contract was to work 6 hours a day, 4 days a week as an editor, content designer, and strategist, basically. Those days, that quickly changed. What started as 6 hours a day quickly turned into more like 10 hours a day. And instead of 4 days a week, it became more like 5 days a week. Not every week, but there were several weeks there where I worked or was glued to my phone or glued to my computer. In fact, my days kind of became that over time, where I would spend, I had a schedule in the mornings where wake up, go to the gym, be in front of my computer by 10 o'clock in the morning. And I was there glued to my computer for like 10 hours straight each day. Just whether it was answering emails, going back and forth in content design, graphics design, all of that takes hours and hours and hours of application, even sometimes one logo, one design concept, and then the administration to document all the work that I was doing. That took easily 10 hours a day of my time. Working in that kind of a workflow presented probably the biggest challenge, because things were always moving so quickly. We were constantly moving from one project to the next very quickly. The biggest barrier we had within the work, within the Office of Christ, within the team itself, was our communication, because we're all living on different ends of the world, different countries. We're communicating through WhatsApp and email and things like that in order to communicate. So that probably presented the biggest challenge to us, the biggest barrier, the biggest obstacle, just getting through methods and modes of communication that hindered us from either completing work or having stuff be approved.
I'm sorry, Geraldine, when I heard what you said you guys were making, that shit.
When she first hired me, she gave me, and obviously this is like me, like totally, obviously it's my fault that I ever agreed to it, but 888 for an entire month, which she told me was going to be a couple of hours a day. How much was I working, Johnny?
Yeah, what she promised
constantly.
was like, it's absolutely ridiculously different than.
Oh my god.
I was literally working around the clock.
I got more on social welfare when I was jobless before.
As soon as I woke up in the morning till as soon as I went to bed, there was a few nights where it was like late at night and I had like a bit of a breakdown. Because she'd be still texting and that, and then at the very end, this is going to sound ridiculous, I can't even believe myself saying this, but this is actually what she told me. Once again, her soul was like pushing me out at this point. It was doing me a favor, because at that point I was like, okay, I need to look after Willow, and I can't be like working that much in the day. I finally had this like balls to say it. I'm definitely gonna like admit, like, I learned a lot through this, and I grew.
Oh yeah, how to stand back up for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. But she said after your day with Willow, you need to put in 7 or 8 hours of work per day.
So when I get home at like 6:30 p.m., then he needs to work 7 hours minimum.
So I begin my day at 10 a.m. typically every morning. I'm still a fuck yes, by the way, in this vortex. I'm doing everything I can to stay aligned into this vortex because I can feel the energies shifting. It's taken me for a roller coaster, but nothing about being in this involved with the OC or with you guys has ever changed. It hasn't changed since I started. I'm just balancing. I'm just going through a couple things, but I'm balancing my energy fields. And I appreciate your patience and thank you for working with me. And I'm still eager to work with you. Love you.
You know, and I'm like, I'm glued to my computer like I have no life outside of here. This is not, and then not only that, it's creating opportunity costs. I'm not doing any of my other spiritual practice work. I've literally put that to the side to dedicate myself fully into this work for Eldora and Siman. I'm like, what am I doing? And then they're telling me I'm not enough, basically.
And I was doing it. I was doing it willingly. I didn't complain. I never complained about the work. I wanted to do it. I wanted to, and I wanted the job, you know, because they had asked for me to not work with anyone else during the times that I was scheduled to work for them. I had essentially eliminated all of my other clients. I wasn't working with anyone else. I did work a film production gig, but that was outside of my hours. It wasn't until I actually did that production that I realized how much time I was devoting to Eldora and Siman, which I didn't complain about my pay or my fee for my time or my services, but it was still a lot. There was still a lot that I technically was not being paid for in terms of time and effort.
Which for the hours roughly broke down to $20 to $22 an hour.
Yes, but then something happened. When you were and me were in the leading position, we kept on being commended by Siman, Eldora, and the other teammates. It's like Nicole saw something, like a teeny bitty type of mistake. I posted something which was really long, and I had a lot of job on my plate. So I was not able to check that the caption got cut off or it was not complete. And there's Nicole, she said that to Eldora purposely on the Hera ENS chat. We have our own chat via WhatsApp. So Nicole posted about, instead of correcting me and teaching me, just like what the other family members do, like Hera, Ebony, that's what they do to me when I make some mistakes, especially Hera. Eldora freaked out. I got so scared.
So Hera, I think you have some wounds about being criticized or something, because it's getting to the point where when Nicole is away, like literally, I don't have resources to constantly check your work. You have to check your own work. So what were my instructions? We never got to post that on Instagram though, or on Telegram. Wonder if we should make a post on Instagram and Telegram at 9 a.m. London tomorrow. Hera can make the post. What do you think is suited for those platforms? You got so much in a frenzy that you didn't make it at 9 a.m. that you completely missed the point that I had also asked for it to be posted on Telegram. But that being said, I don't trust you to make any posts without my approval, because I also have to check if you've made 100 mistakes in it, like saying today instead of tomorrow.
Eldora is the type of person that you can't say no to. And she's got her mouth has no remorse. She was harsh when you say no to her.
Instead of sending me one clear message, you've sent me like 100 messages on my email, on my text, on the content text, but it seems like you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm literally, on the day of my healing, I'm supposed to be holding an event. I'm sitting and checking, okay, what other mistake has Hera made? And also, you're not even accepting the fact that you did not post it on Telegram. So when I ask for 2 things, why are you only doing 1 thing? So basically, I'm not sure what's going on with you, but it feels like you need to ground more. Like this is I'm talking right now kindergarten level basics. I'm not even talking about advanced stuff. Hera post a reel. How hard is that for you to do? So if you're saying, I got so scared that I didn't post it at 9 a.m., so I made 100 mistakes, that's not good enough for me.
I was told some really harsh things. She told me I need to, prove myself for the company, and that she was in pronto. She was cutting my pay from being $2 into $1,777.
She started becoming like saying that I was in my ego, giving me really redundant tasks to do. It's like I could not meet, like no matter what task she gave me, if I met that task, it wasn't good enough. Or if I did something, it wasn't good enough. There was no pleasing whatever she wanted from me. And so I started that was like my first red flag, like, okay, something's really off here.
I first noticed the attitude change and shift in their behavior and demeanor, especially when they moved to Croatia. They had arranged to move to Croatia with the kids, actually, Nicole, Sistara, and Merlin had all arranged to move to Croatia to be with them. They were going to live together leading up to the New Earth Music Festival event in December, or at the end of the year for New Year's Eve. So they agreed. They all booked a mansion and a private apartment. Johnny and Geraldine and their young daughter from Ireland also all agreed. They moved to Croatia to be with EldoRa and Siman for this event, and they all went. That's when the shift started to happen.
The way you're working right now is not working out, and until you get back in the driver's seat, until you become a master again, until you start acting like a master, we are cutting off all communication between you, me, and Siman, meaning you don't have access to us anymore. We only work with masters. We only work with people who can hold their weight.
So I'm going to need to cut off your pay. Or, yeah, I was like being placed in a position where like I must say yes to EldoRa even though it's hurting me and it's unfair to me. Just for the sake for me to be able to keep my job.
It's like, no, this is not what I got into it for. It's like I didn't get into it for the money, but now, and it's not even still for the money, but it was like, why is it becoming about that? More importantly, why is it becoming a question of my integrity when I'm giving so much of myself?
I really truly felt like I was aligning myself with something good. And a part of me still doesn't fall back on that initial thought going into working with them.
I actually feel like I would come live with them at some point. And then they posted that they had like an available position, and I applied for it and they never returned. And then I think a couple months later, she posted on Telegram that she was looking for a handmaiden. And I was like, that's me. Like, no matter how creepy that position sounds, I was like, it's EldoRa, she knows what she's doing. And I was just like, that's me.
It's kind of like, I hate to say it, but it's almost like grooming. You don't really realize who they are until you really get to spend some time with them and really get to see their personality come out, their personality even shift.
Yeah. And I'm like, why am I also giving my power away to someone in this position just because I think I put up with it for a while because I gave up working with any other clients for like 6 months.
But I agreed to it. You know, I didn't complain about it. I just wanted to do it. Probably about 3 to 4 months in, though, because I didn't have any other revenue coming in, I actually needed them as a client. So I was like, okay, I can't just turn away now. I'm in this until I either figure out something else or just quit entirely.
Call down all our guides, our angels. We call down the Sisterhood of the Rose, the Order of Melchizedek, and we align our intentions to service to the divine.
Like the moment that we got in Croatia, it was just like, go hard and just like set everything up for these guys. They're going to be there in a few days. And this was like, considering everything we've been through, selling all our stuff. And you just imagine everything a family has gone through to like come and, so we go there, we're just putting ourselves secondary. Like we're in this new country with our family, putting them first, you know, big lessons in this, obviously. Bam, 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 get everything ready for them. And then the day came when we were having maybe a week into it, there was like a family heart sharing circle where everyone just gets together in the backyard. And for me, it was an opening where I just cried, and I thought it was an opening to be a safe place to just express myself.
Yeah.
And then
Right about how shitty everything felt.
And I was like, this is hard. And then they were empathizing, and Siman was like, yeah, like, he's like, imagine what everyone's been through. You guys are like, it's been way harder on you, an octave higher than everything we're going through. And then this and that and support. And then the next day, the message I got from EldoRa was just, oh my God.
What's coming up for me a lot today and yesterday is this sense of, no matter how much help and how much support I get from the universe, I'm unable to shake off this burden that I feel on my shoulders. It's this burden of managing Office of Christ. It is this burden of, and it's such a dense word, the word burden, but it truly feels like this burden of making sure that others' ego harmonization doesn't derail our mission.
He was completely isolated because I think that they could sense that he kind of saw through them a bit more than me. Like he would sometimes come up to me and be like, didn't she say she was going to be your soul sister? Do you feel like you're her soul sister? And obviously, no, I didn't feel like I was her soul sister. Like I felt like a full-blown slave maid, whatever. But I just wasn't ready to see it. But he would always be like, look, let's think of a plan B if this doesn't work out and everything. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? And
no, well, let's think of a plan B. Good thinking, you guys. Yeah. Like, for real.
For people to really understand, from the outside, it looks, not the way it is. But I think the key for people to be aware is to have a number of people, like a big trail of everybody saying the same thing.
They had alerted everyone that you had been kicked out. Basically, you weren't allowed in the house, anywhere around. And I'm like, this is getting weird.
Geraldine said that EldoRa told her that she wasn't giving me compliments because it didn't want to get to she wasn't giving me any positive feedback or any.
Because it'll give him an ego, it'll grow his ego. Like anytime I compliment Johnny, it like goes straight to his head and his ego pops up and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like
some of you are fully harmonized and some people are getting harmonized and some people are going through their ego harmonization. So I'm really feeling that burden of being in this leadership position where so much is happening. We're going at the speed of light. We're having a festival. We're doing New York Mystery School. We're doing YouTube channelings. We're bringing down hermetic principles of thought. We're doing so much, but we're doing all of this while traveling at the speed of light.
Yeah, when I first met them in person in Croatia, I walked in the door and it was just this, there was no connection from a human there. It was just like, it was just this spacious, no connection with it that you thought you'd get. And
there was no eye contact. I would talk to EldoRa and she would like sometimes close her eyes. She couldn't look at me. Like, I think it almost like freaked her out or something whenever she would have one-on-one conversations with me or something. And like, they don't know a lot of things that you would think that they would know.
Every conversation with EldoRa and Siman kind of resulted in them somehow trying to criticize you, or was always some lesson involved in how they spoke to you or tried to tell you, you need to correct this and you need to do this and you need to improve here. And And if you so much as even challenge their way of thinking or what they saw, you were either in your ego, or you were not in gratitude, or you were just in defiance.
Every conversation with her would just be on her perfecting what you're doing wrong. It would all be like a channeled teaching. It would always just be essentially just putting you down. There's no like connection with the person. So they're just constantly hiding behind this kind of image and of the punisher, but you're getting punished because you're getting trained in initiations, and it's all about the initiations, and have gratitude for it. Otherwise you can hit the road.
There was nothing outside of being a maid that could be spoken of, or you know, there's no space for anything. She didn't give a shit about anything. And no eye contact. Remember I was saying that she couldn't look at me in the eyes when I was talking to her, and I thought that was because of me. I was like, oh, she's probably uncomfortable with my energy or something. Meanwhile, she was probably fucking scared shitless of like the light that I was emanating towards her. And
the environment there was like for a family to go over there.
We were completely isolated.
You couldn't picture a worse setting.
It was torturous.
I put so much of my effort into just being with Willow and making sure that she was taken care of, because there wasn't one child there. It's not a family country at all.
She never saw a single child. She used to like throw clothes like on the ground, and I think I'm kind of like, there was a certain element of low self-esteem that I had to really heal from through all of this, because I have worked a lot of jobs where it's a lot of like cleaning and like, you know, just overworking with childcare, and just like a lot of like, I worked at like a turkey factory. Like I've done a lot of like low like things I wouldn't do now. But she would like throw her clothes on the ground and be like, you know, get like, it was like, why did they have to be on the ground? Like, why couldn't she like leave them in the basket or whatever? Why did it, like, it had to be somehow degrading always.
Yes.
It was always an element of degradation or whatever. So I was really aware of that, and just like, and then she was programming me to see myself as a maiden. She was like, I just see you, Freya, you're just like this dame, this maiden, this. And she picked out this blouse for me that like kind of depicts that kind of look, like kind of like a maid, even though it was cute and everything. But it's like, looking back now, it's like just to keep me in that box of a maid, you know. If I ever dared like stretch to say I'm excited to one day do something different, I was bypassing my lessons, and I was like having avoidance and everything.
The only phrase I'll ever take back from EldoRa and Siman is love, light, and fuck you. Okay.
I think on the grand scheme of things, everything that's happening is these guys are playing such an important and wonderful part in the world right now, because their souls have signed up for this, and their every move that they've been doing in more recent times, this applies to what I'm saying, everything they've been doing is just putting themselves out there to screw themselves over more and more and more, and raise so much awareness to, maybe this is obvious, but to all the other people that are doing this in the world. But I think they're playing a wonderful part right now in bringing all the darkness to light.
Maybe you can talk, Geraldine, about all the things that have come up for you since you come into the vortex, like one after the other, and how you're not giving up, and how you left your family, you left your, like, everything, whatever, just everything.
It was something really unexpected today whenever whenever Nicole picked that beautiful dress and EldoRa got it for her. It brought up all of my that was the one thing that my mom used to do for me. She used to spoil me so much. And I know it's all bullshit and it's so superficial, but just in that moment, I just wished I could feel that type of love.
Oh, I was feeling it. I was feeling when you did the video with them for the reality show, that first episode that you guys did. I was truly worried because I saw how shrunk you were. like just going along with whatever she was telling you in the moment when you were talking about the dress and everything else. And like you were literally just trying to just not show what you were really feeling. And I felt like, and just kind of kissing her ass on screen right then and there because you had to, you know? I saw it, but I was like, holy shit.
A lot of people
Everyone
did.
reached out to me.
A lot of people did, and that was the beginning of a new time where everyone started contacting Geraldine. And
are you okay?
Essentially, because of Geraldine and myself, you know how many people withdrew their tickets to the event.
They've given out back a fortune to people. There's so many people never went. 30
such
people.
Such a loss.
Wow. 30, that's a lot. That's a lot. 30 people's a lot.
And when these lessons come up, the only thing you have to remember, don't go into victim mode, don't project, clear it, share it with us when we create this safe space, boom, and off to the races you go.
Mm-hmm.
And always keep your perspective clear that these lessons are the biggest gift you can ever receive. Yes. Always have gratitude for that.
But overall, I just feel like that environment was just, honestly, I could say it was lower than 3D. Now that I really step back, like I have family who, you know, they have this regular life where, you know, they're not on an ascension path, but sometimes I feel like they seem more content than what Eldora and Siman seemed.
I went to bed yesterday feeling absolutely exhausted after our conversation, and my emotions and my energy always speak to me. So I'm like, why am I feeling so exhausted? Why am I feeling so drained? I was literally feeling like, oh my God. So something was unharmonized and I couldn't figure out what was unharmonized. So I went to bed. And then I woke up this morning feeling the exact same way, like, oh my God, like, I was feeling everybody's energy in my field. Everybody's energy was in my field, as if I'm taking your burden, your stress, your emotions and putting it in my body. And that was almost making me feel like I need a break from everybody.
They like controlled situations where they can
Right.
take from someone. And when but even like Geraldine told me, when the guy who's in charge of their villa, when he'd come to the house, she'd go in her room. She'd go,
She'd
can
like
you talk
run
to him?
away.
She can't handle like anything with people if she's not like taking from them.
How do you feel?
I feel good. Actually, this morning I was looking forward to coming in and getting breakfast ready rather than it's like something has shifted in my belief in myself. I realized that every morning I've been thinking, oh my God, whatever I make, it might not be good. Like, I'm not really good at this. And today I was like, everything's gonna taste great. I've got all the ingredients. You know, I was just kind of a burden was lifted.
Yes, and you also went back to gratitude. Because initially you were going into this side step up. Until now, your whole matrix was built around, I just want to be with Eldora and Siman. And you even said to me, I'll even scrub toilets.
Oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And then you got offered a job as a vegan chef and you started. And within a week, your mind, your ego started playing tricks on you saying, oh, I don't want to be a vegan chef anymore. Now I want to be a project manager. And the message was, Geraldine is going into borderline ungratitude, but more than that, she's escaping from facing herself. And that's what Siman got.
That was brilliant. Thank you.
And that's the trick of it all. It's like you're thinking, gosh, maybe I really am just in my shadow and I'm not processing this. No, we're taking abuse. It's a narcissist. It's gaslighting. Yeah. It's all of that she's doing and making it out like we're the ones that have the issue here. You can never win with that kind of a person. That's when you know you're dealing with a true narcissist. There is no logic here. Okay.
That brings me to something that I've never. Well, it's not that big compared to all the things that happened, but everything that I thought was my fault. Like, for example, Johnny would have to park up the driveway when he would come and get me, and they would tell me you're going to stay here till say 5 p.m. and the next thing it's like 6 p.m. and maybe Johnny might be waiting there for 20 minutes outside, right? And he had Willow with her, and they were isolated all day long in the middle of nowhere with nothing for Willow to do. Imagine how much she's dying to see her mom, like after a shit day, basically, like, let's be honest. And then
one day I was just at my wit's end. Like, I knew Johnny was waiting up there. I had all this shit to do. I was always overworked with, you know, just shitty household tasks that always amount to more than what you're thinking it's going to take. And I was like, I just feel a little bit bad because Willow was like waiting up there. She's like, why are you telling me that? You know, that's lowering my vibration. We have an event tomorrow and you're telling me this. This is extremely, what's that word? Like projection. She was telling me I'm projecting and that I'm lowering her vibration and everything. And I was like, so I have to keep everything to myself. I'm suffering. My child is suffering, but she's like, why are you telling me this? I can't do anything about Willow waiting in the car. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I told Johnny, I'm just not going to tell them anything now when I'm going through stuff. And like, what sense is that either? Like, you're supposed to be in a community. She even got the kids to message me to reassure me Willow wouldn't be isolated and that they were all going to spend time with her in Croatia. They're like, don't worry about Willow. Willow just went from a fucking awesome school to like isolation, and nobody gave a flying fuck.
Many of you are feeling unworthy. And because you're feeling unworthy, you're projecting on us. You're saying, I'm feeling unworthy, so I'm going to say, how dare they call themselves this? Or I'm feeling unworthy, so what else? I don't know what the triggers are.
How dare they enjoy luxury?
How dare, yeah.
These are all, we're putting it out there, and this is 100% related to the topic of the dark night of the soul, because you really have to get it at a deep conscious level that if you are being triggered, then you have work to do.
I'm watching them now, and I'm watching their old stuff, and because sometimes it's applicable, because, you know, I'm like doing my research, and but I'm like, how did I fall for any of this? But then I realized I definitely, it's a clear as day to me that I went under so that I could be a part of this, and
we all did.
A core member of this, for a really great reason. So,
well, the last day I saw her, I knew that I was leaving, but I just pretended like everything was normal, and I asked whatever angelic protection to not let it slip through. But that was the most confident I've ever been in front of them. And I just walked into that house and I was like, you want a club sandwich? I was like, yeah. And I was like making it. She was like, see how you're so comfortable in our house. That's why we're so happy with you. And then I even gave her, because she had all these canker sores all in her mouth and she couldn't even eat. And I told her to do Himalayan salt and water. I was still going along with it. And then she was like, see, I don't have a mom. And that's why but I could sense that she was scared in her voice with me, because it was like she knew that I knew that the game was up, and I was just kind of, because they were going on a trip to Split, and that was like the perfect time for Johnny and I to like
get out.
We saw everything during those few days.
Yeah, it was divinely timed. And it was also in our integrity to complete all of the tasks that we had for them. It sounds crazy, but we left their place spotless. I did a great grocery shop for them, and just all this. I gave them
everything put together, everything put away.
Yeah.
The one thing we forgot to get was the coconut oil, and you know she needs her coconut oil. Like the bed covers are always covered in it, so she was sorry. TMI.
TMI on that visual.
Delete that part from the Zoom.
Nobody needs to hear that.
There was the one thing we forgot.
Everybody needs to hear that. I'm sorry, I'm kidding.
But I just found that really funny because she was freaking out. Like, I need lots of coconut oil, one in the bath, one in the bedroom, one in the kitchen, and it was the one thing we forgot to get in the groceries. They live in like the middle of nowhere, so I felt like it's kind of funny that they couldn't get it.
Are you guys okay? Like right now?
We're at my parents.
Okay.
But Willow's going back to school on Monday, back to her little school in Kilkenny, in the town where we usually live. So that's 3 hours away from here. So we're just like manifesting this rental to come quick, because we have a bit of an Airbnb thing on and off, a tiny little like
yeah, we're just really,
it's like a room.
Yeah.
That we found on Airbnb. So we just feel there has to be something in the works for us energetically after all what we just went through.
It's coming. It's coming. Trust me. We were kicked out for a reason. We were not meant to be there. I mean, we're okay at all. Like, let's get down to brass tacks. I'm happy this happened. I don't like the experience, but I'm happy this happened, because in all of this, like, I got so disconnected from myself. We don't have to look outside of ourselves. That's the point. You want to follow Jesus Christ's teaching, says, you don't look to false deities to confirm your identity and who you are. It's God is within you. Okay, you know what I mean? Whatever. It's all of it. It's like, why are we looking to EldoRa and Siman to validate our existence here? No. No.
Learn that lesson.
Hard. Like, I just needed a recap, a reminder. Hey, the power is not outside of you. It never was. It's always been you.
Yep. I got the full lesson this time.
Yeah.
So, in one of their videos, when they told us that they were hiring, following Yana Sophia's resignation, they were looking for people to help them for some extra hands. I never hesitated and immediately applied. My professional experience is I've been a digital manager or digital marketing manager for about 6 years from now. So I was offered the role of being like 5D growth strategist. It has the same role that Liara has. Initially, I was offered with a salary worth $20 per hour. I'm also from the Philippines.
And this is also a very good place to introduce new team members to our attitude of how we represent House of Ra when we speak with facilitators, because you guys may be tomorrow going out and contacting facilitators on our behalf. So we don't take the approach that we want you and like we're very interested. We take the approach that we show them less interest, and we see their level of interest to work with us.
Yes.
Because we don't want those casual passerbys who are just throwing their resumes around, and if someone bites, then they'll go along for the ride. We want people who are fuck yeses, like people who know at least what House of Ra is, what we represent. We want to know that they're aligned with this mission, not just like, because House of Ra, it's not that we're bragging like we're some big shit. What we're actually trying to create is that this level of purity, this level of intention, this level of consciousness, that's the DNA of House of Ra. And it's not for the casual passerby to just come and join us for one party. We want people who are aligned with the mission, and we want to create long-term relationships with people.
When I got hired, EldoRa and I used to talk via email, and she told me that I felt like a soul family. I don't need an interview, something like that. So I was so happy being their fan. Really, I must be something special. And then I immediately took the offer, and I was employed back then for another company whom I worked for, being a marketing manager. I had a good boss, and I had to let go of that job because EldoRa Siman's role, it wanted me to always have my time on them, When I worked for the very first day, they sent me a voice recording early morning my time, and they told me, Hera, when you get this in the morning, please PM us. Please do this work, blah, blah, blah. So I got startled. Oh my God, my work usually starts in the evening of my time, in the Philippine time. Why am I being asked to work this early?
So they would ask you to work really late your time?
Really early my time.
Really early your time. Okay.
Hi, Hera. Nicole was asking me recently if it's okay for you to be doing 8-hour days because many of your days are 8 hours. I told her for now that's totally fine. The only thing there's 2 things I want to make sure you're not burning out. Number one, if you're able to do 8-hour days, 2 or 3 days a week, we don't mind. And the others can be 6 days or 4 hours, 6 hours or 4 hours, as the case may be. But another thing is because you're hourly, you also need to be mindful of how you do your hours. And I think you're already very mindful, but in case you're not, I just want to leave this with you. So let's say you're working on something and Siman and I are still asleep and you don't really have anything to do. In that case, you can either think, okay, what can I do for their social media? You can get your creative juices flowing. You can say, I'm going to spend half an hour on or 45 minutes on thinking about new ways to grow their social media, or look at our social media and say, maybe I can make graphics for this. Like keep coming up with fresh ideas every week. But my point is, don't just keep billing. Don't keep the billing open if you have nothing to do. So let's say Siman and I are still sleeping and you don't really have that much to do. Just log off work, clock out, and then come back around this time. After 2 hours, come back and see, okay, I'll check if EldoRa and Siman are awake and they have something for me to do. So just be responsible with your billing, which I think you already are, but this is just a reminder.
Did you ever feel like you could say no to her? Like if you said no to working outside of your working hours, like you were worried about saying no? Or how did you feel about that?
EldoRa is the type of person that you can't say no to. And she's got her mouth has no remorse. She was harsh when you say no to her. And that's what I experienced.
Because one of the things I really want to do is show that there's an image that we know that they present to the public, right? Which is we're so in service to you and to the 5D Ascension and everything. But then behind the scenes, the way they treat us is the complete reversal of that.
Opposite.
Yeah, the complete opposite.
Yeah. So that for the audience to really connect with us, they need to see that. They need to see and be able to feel that transition between what they're fed online versus what's actually going on behind the scenes.
When they moved to Croatia, everyone's roles in the Office of Christ changed. It no longer became me having access directly with EldoRa and Siman. They limited that. And at one point, EldoRa told me I was in my ego so much that she completely withdrew herself. She put Liara and Nicole as mediators in between myself and her. So she no longer spoke with me directly. She spoke with me through others, through the members of the Office of Christ, and would give commands and tasks and stuff through them instead of me having direct access to her. And that was becoming very taxing, very draining. I literally had to sometimes translate stuff that was being given to me, and we had so many different threads and conversations going on that you have to decipher here and there what's happening, and then you can't bother EldoRa and Siman with the thought process because it overloads them. EldoRa, how would she say it?
When I would come in the morning, they just seemed so miserable. Like she'd be on her computer and he would just have these dark eyes and they would just be so, and then towards the end she texted me saying, you text us only in the house. We don't want any small talk. We don't want any, it's not your fault that you like to indulge in sweet talk, Freya, but it's a frequency thing. You just text us because it really fries our system when you speak to us in person. So that was as things started to get really bad,
It fries their vortex is how she would put it. It literally fries her vortex whenever she has to do too much thinking. Technically, anytime you're talking with them, you're trying to keep your conversations short. You're trying to keep your communication style brief, even down to sentence structure and writing, because you don't want to give them too much to look at.
She would come and then she would be happy, and then she would come and tell me off, and then I couldn't talk to her, and then it was too heavy what I shared with her, and the contact became less and less, even though I was living with them, and it was just never good enough. Never.
Yeah, there was some serious paper trailed promises for my family, and to say they were not met is an understatement. They were not met, and it was nobody cared at all. Like, and Geraldine and I noticed that when we got there, the kids had a certain way about them towards ourselves, Geraldine and I. And when we were on our own, Geraldine's like, there's definitely been some dialogue between them that Eldora and Siman said, don't get too close to them. And they have this agreement anyways to treat us a certain way anyways. That was incredibly cold, really.
They knew that I was stressed mentally, emotionally because of what they were doing to me, especially Eldora and Nicole. But when Merlin went to Croatia to live with Eldora and Siman, it was like Eldora assigned him to look after my social media posts and to be a senior to me, something like that. And compared to the kind and gentle Merlin that I once knew before, he changed.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It was like he adopted Eldora's behavior.
I started to notice that the kids were in competition with me. They didn't want me to tell them what to do. That was so obvious. They did not want my input on the stuff that they were doing. They wanted it to come directly from Eldora and Siman, because that's the power dynamic that was created within the job. You always wanted to have direct access to Eldora and Siman.
It used to just be myself and Eldora, and technically the other number in the chat was Siman, but Eldora had 2 phones, so it was never Siman in the chat with us. I think it was always just Eldora. It was always Eldora.
That's so weird. Yeah.
Because she's basically double teaming you. And then eventually Nicole got brought into my chat, and then Liara. And then next thing I knew,
same here.
Yeah, next thing you know, our private chat became suddenly a group chat. And it became them giving me orders inside of the private chat for all the tasks, especially right about the last month that I was working with them. Eldora, after that job that I had taken and they completely disagreed with it, Eldora told me that I was heavily in my ego. They isolated themselves. They basically said, we will no longer talk to you directly, where you're going to have to basically talk to Nicole or Liara in order to talk to us. And at that point,
she said that to me too, exact words.
Yeah, it seems very organized actually, like it's the exact same treatment.
At first I was just overworked and I was not allowed to rest, even if it's the weekend, and we don't have work during the weekends. It's supposed to be our day off. So at first I thought it was just me being new. I had to, tell Eldora and Siman who I really am, what I'm really capable of, perhaps convince them. And that convincing thing, it never ended. So yeah, whenever Eldora is not resting, whenever she's not traveling, she keeps on asking for this extra stuff. She keeps on pushing you to your limits, although she knows that I'm not really particularly very good in video editing. She keeps on pushing me to do that. And when I make even a very single mistake, everything will blow up in my face. Yeah.
Hey Hera, so from what I know, we had very strict instructions that you should only, and I mean only, change the color and not touch anything else. So I think maybe what you mean by placed ticket links to get tickets and dance now buttons on the homepage, I don't know, maybe you did a little too much there and that's what fucked up everything. This is a major breach, meaning this is a major no, this can never happen again. If I trust you with something and you screw up just because you're not following orders or you're not listening to what we're saying, then that's a very major red flag. This time, we're not holding it against you, we're not blaming you, but this cannot happen again. If you don't know something, say you don't know. Like for example, when you started working with us for the first day, you're like, oh, I can build the website. When somebody says to me, I can build the website, I assume they're an expert. I don't even know what made you say something like, I can build the website, when you don't even know how to build a website. So In you, I'm seeing that you're a very pure soul, but you still have a lot to learn in terms of following communications, communicating clearly, reading instructions. These are like major, you have like all of this major work in your curriculum coming up.
Yes, she will overreact to every single mistakes. And she keeps on telling me that I don't communicate well. It's like magic words.
We're all bad communicators. We all suck. None of us communicate well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she keeps on telling me. And then my salary too. She knows I am the breadwinner of the family. So I started with an offer of that, yeah. So it's $20 per hour. And Nicole keeps on telling Eldora, hey, Hera is still earning this amount of money. She's just a part-time worker. And then that's it. At first, I think I was doing a great job, right, Ebony? Because as far as I can remember, it's the three of us in the leading position of being a hard worker, right? They told us we're leaders. We're really good at doing our job. And then suddenly it blew off in my face.
I would recommend you delete the last message from the chat where you said, I will be there because it's mandatory. Because for someone new joining our vortex, to say that is kind of ridiculous. People only are in Office of Christ because they're excited as fuck to be there. And if you're not excited as fuck to be in that meeting, then you don't need to be really. I know it's a miscommunication, but I'm kind of trying to make you understand how your message comes across.
She was, when she's mad, she's just like my biological mother who is really abusive to me. She told me, Nicole, we're not supposed to babysit people, blah, blah, blah. Hera, you're not doing a great job, something like that. I can't remember the exact words that she used. So I'm going to need to cut off your pay. Or, yeah, I was like being placed in a position where like I must say yes to Eldora even though it's hurting me and it's unfair to me, just for the sake for me to be able to keep my job.
I hate that she did that to you, only because we have similar experiences, only she did not. For me, she knew better that she could not reduce my pay, only because, and mind you, Hera, I'm making another 1,000 more than you are at this point for the work that I'm doing with managing the marketing, for running the ads for all of their social media, as well as doing all the ad creation and video and content design and stuff like that.
I would describe the treatment that you get from EldoRa and Siman. It's very love bomby. It's a lot of like over glorified praise, and then the moment something doesn't feel right to them, mind you, you don't never really know from day to day what you're going to wake up to or what response you're going to have from them in an email or a message online, either praising or completely attacking you out of nowhere for what you just don't know. It was almost like you didn't have to do anything.
I was in a point where I don't trust them anymore. Like, they are going to tell me a compliment, but deep inside I know just a minute later it will go sideways and that compliment will turn into something really aggressive, and with Eldora saying bad words to me. Yeah, so basically that's what happened. So they pushed me to edit the video, but they're not supposed to push me like that because they already have a lot of video editors in the team, and they know I was not good with it. I can just do the basics. So I was asked to put some subtitles using Merlin's software, which is Adobe Pro, I think. And in that video, there are some parts of it where Eldora she will say double words or like hello guys, something like that. So me, out of my love and concern from them, for them, I cut that out. The double words, the sighs, something like that. To make it look more professional, and I placed the subtitles correctly. So I submitted it to Marilyn. Eldora was really happy that I was doing a job which I was not good at. And Merlin, he noticed that the 2 to 15 seconds part of the video were missing. I told him, I just cut the unnecessary words, the unnecessary parts to make it look more professional. But instead of, letting it pass or telling me gently that don't do that next time unless you're willing to ask me first, he immediately said it or told it to Eldora, and she began to freak out. What are you doing? You're really incompetent. Something like that. It blew up in my face again, and that was my breaking point. I knew something was wrong.
I got to a point where it didn't matter how efficient I became. Eventually, it wasn't about that. It was about control. It was about Eldora needing to be seen.
Because it affected me emotionally and psychologically. I was belittling myself, and I was even questioning myself if am I just getting paranoid? Am I really that bad? Something like that. Because the other ones are not speaking up, or maybe they're afraid to speak up too.
I was so blindly doing everything she told me that I was just like, okay.
With me, Eldora knew that she couldn't push quite as hard as she did with you because I would push back. Only because, not that you couldn't, but she knew she could do that to you because you needed the job. You needed the job. Okay, you had let go of working with anyone else. You let go of your job, so you were in need of employment at this point in time. You could not say no.
She was not willing to let me go because I don't know. I was a really hardworking person, as far as I know. I also know that I'm smart. I'm willing to do everything for the community. I love you all, basically. But it was just getting too much, and Eldora's mouth, she has no remorse when she's angry at you. She's really angry at no gas, no brake, something like that.
Yeah, right. No, she's just verbally abusive is really what it is.
Verbally abusive. And then when she know that I was at my breaking point, she keeps on pulling me. We can still make it. Stay, something like that. Just take some time off. It will be okay. Whenever I try to go, she will pull me. It's like a bipolar attitude, She'll turn nice when she know you're on your breaking point. She'll push you. She'll strive to keep me, but yeah. So I became some type of vibrational match to them because I was seeking for a spiritual community. So my final advice to you guys is to really trust your discernment above all else.
Hi, Office of Christ team. How are you guys doing? I just wanted to share with you a blown fucked moment that I just had with my guides. And I was actually contacted by a new guide from Egypt who is taught Hermes Trigestis, thrice great. And it's a very honorable experience that I just had. I literally just came up.
When Siman had the Thoth channeling event experience, in October. It was October 11th of 2022. He wrote into the Office of Christ in our WhatsApp group telling us about the experience, the channeling that he had just had with Master Thoth. And what an eye-opening, awakening experience it was. And we were all wowed and awed. All of us were really blown away by what we heard. And it was so genuine. It was pure. We all believed it. We didn't question it. And I still, to this day, haven't questioned if that was real or not. I accepted it because I had similar experiences of my own. So to say that Siman didn't have that experience, no, I fully believed he had the experience. We were all blown away by it, and we all wrote in with our comments of congratulations, and we all just wrote in how we felt. And I used our comments and everything and turned his voice recordings into a presentation. It was the trailer that we used online to promote the Hermetic Principles of Thoth, to promote that event. That was the first time I noticed a shift in Eldora's treatment. Her character. It felt like she was jealous, honestly, of Siman, how she was acting. She was very curt, very cold. Very critical. She wanted me to put content together from his recording to make a video, but she was very harsh in how she wanted it done. Very, very nasty, and just, really, it was like she resented the fact that he had the experience. So she resented putting any content together whatsoever that even highlighted the experience that Siman had. And it felt it. It came through in our conversation and text. I was going back and forth with the editing for that project with Eldora and Siman, and that's when I started noticing her treatment towards me really began to shift. She just became colder. She became nastier. That was the moment in time where she told me I was starting to be in my ego.
We need your performance to be back up to 100%, Ebony. This is very important for your role with the company. We cannot afford to constantly lose time, waste time. Because what I'm noticing is that you're working 8 hours a day because your technology and your Wi-Fi and your computer are not able to support you. Literally, because the work that we're giving you is not really that hard. It's not even that much time. And if you really, really think of the task involved, you'll see what I mean. You just need a faster, more stable computer. Literally, that's becoming the problem.
I was seriously facing burnout. I was exhausted. I was pushing. I was dealing with a computer that was acting slow. I even told Eldora at one point that I wrote to her, and she had written me an email basically telling me that I was really in my ego. I was not. It was starting to show. She forgave me for it, but she really, she wanted me to question if I was still even ready to be a member of the Office of Christ. It was basically an evaluation. My whole character was being put on evaluation. How, I don't know. I never responded in ego. I never said anything inappropriate in text. I have all the WhatsApp communications to even prove it. I never projected on her. Eldora herself would even tell you, has even written in to say, Ebony, you've never projected your ego at me.
And one thing I love about you is that you never project your frustration, or you never project negativity, or even though your ego is acting up, you know it's your ego and it's your shit, and you never project it. And that I really, really applaud you on, because that is the only way to stay in this vortex, to be honest. We are not even us, Siman and I, we're not allowed to project. Simple. It's as simple as that.
So then how can I be an ego, Eldora, if I'm not even projecting it at you? So what is it you're feeling?
So right now, Ebony, you really need to get back in the driver's seat, and until you come back to showing your mastery, you have no access to Siman and me. Until then, you report to Nicole and Liara, and this is an extra step for them, and they're both very busy, but right now, nothing is going to be submitted to us until Nicole and Liara, or at least one of them, approve it and say, yeah, this can go to ENS, and all of their updates and changes have been implemented. And this might also mean that you need to take some time off, maybe tomorrow, and identify, is this job still resonating with you? If it is, it's not showing. I don't feel your heart frequency anymore. It feels like you're doing this job, but you just want to go out there and get back to your 3D acting career or something. That's how it seems like. And This is the last time I'm going to give you advice, because right now it feels like instead of you being our guardian, we're being your babysitters, and I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. I need you to get back to being a master. We are going far with you in this vortex, but for that you need to get back in your mastery.
What do I think the reason was that resulted in my termination? There was no reason. Because they could. Because they didn't want to pay for my services. Because Eldora wanted to exercise her power and authority in the cruelest way possible, and they did so in the cruelest way possible.
At first, I got confused if I was just really overreacting, if I was questioning myself. Was I really that incompetent? Was I really that bad that I'm losing this spiritual community that I have? Because everyone is so sweet in this vortex. I used to love everyone here. Eldora used to always make me feel that I was incompetent. I was not doing my job well. I don't deserve to be here. I always need to prove myself. So aside from my salary always being reduced, I was so stressed with Eldora. So because when she's not really traveling, she keeps on assigning tasks. She's not letting me rest during the weekends, or even when I'm supposed to be resting outside of my working hours. There are a lot of job to do. Sometimes the job don't even make sense anymore.
Yes. Yes, redundant tasks that don't mean anything. They're just working you to work you for no reason.
Yes. And they'll throw it out the window, just like what Ebony said. And I was stressed with Nicole too, because she knows how to trigger Eldora more.
Can I ask something really quickly? Because I confronted them in one of my last meetings that I ever had with them, because I intuitively figured out, but also you can just tell, Nicole had a private chat with me, but it was not Nicole speaking to me. It was Eldora, especially when they moved to Croatia, it became Eldora using Nicole's phone to talk to me. Whoa. So she would communicate because Nicole doesn't quite have the snap, the bite that Eldora does when she talks to you. Nicole, despite she can be a little ruthless, she can be a little even kind of mean, bitchy, yeah. But
she'll sell you out.
Yeah. But when it's private chat, Nicole, Eldora feeds Nicole what to say. Nicole a lot of times does not come up with this stuff herself. It's Eldora using Nicole as a mouthpiece to tell you what she wants done. Yeah. Okay. So I confronted them about that in the meeting to basically acknowledge, I see that this is happening. You know, Eldora, you and I can have better communication, but you need to just, be able to talk to me directly. You don't have to use Nicole as a mouthpiece. You don't have to, I know the difference between when Nicole is talking to me versus when you're talking to me. Eldora.
I love that you called that out.
Oh no, I called it out, and it made them scared as shit, because from that moment on, from that day on, I knew my days working there were numbered, because Eldora was immediately triggered by the fact that I called her out. And Nicole too. Nicole was just sitting next to Siman like a scared little girl, like, holy crap. Because she's going along with it. Anytime Nicole was sensing that you, Ree, or you, Hera, or me, in any way, I guess, threatened her in any kind of a way, just by our position, not that we were even going after her position. There was no competition here, as far as I'm concerned. Nicole, you're doing your job. I'm doing my job. But Nicole didn't register it that way. She became kind of naughty. She became kind of aggressive.
It's something I didn't see but now I see it very clearly. Yeah.
Oh, very clearly. At the end, I saw right through it, but and it was so nasty. So I was, I was only, after that final meeting, basically that happened at the end of October. Yeah, November, that was my last month. They were, from that moment
Me too.
on.
It's November, yeah.
Right, I was, they quote, terminated me November 27th on the Thoth event, the Hermetic Principles of Thoth. They terminated me that day. That month, I had spent the entire month coming up with all the ad design, ad creative, the banners, everything that they used, all the marketing material that they used. And the kids were not just Nicole now. By this point in time, it got to become Nicole, Merlin, Sistara, all of them ganging up on me to get information, get what they needed. It was not a loving working environment anymore. It was, yes, I'm ordering you, basically do this, get this done ASAP, that kind of thing.
So they adopted that behavior as well, like Merlin and Will, I don't know who else.
Sistara.
Sistara
is still there. Okay.
And so that month, during the Thoth event, I'm live for the event with them, as we do. We sit in and we watch and participate, or, Siman's presenting. They have like a private chat going on the side, and we're engaging in it a little bit, but Eldora is like really taking it over. Like, I thought we're supposed to be focused on making sure Siman, this whole thing goes well with Siman and everything. No, Eldora is completely hogging the chat over here with on the side with the Office of Christ. And, I'm engaging a little bit, but what I realized, it was a distraction to keep my attention focused elsewhere, because in the background, Liara was literally removing my access to everything in the back office. So she was getting rid of my email. She was getting rid of all of my access to the Trello boards. She was getting rid of my Google Drive access, everything that we use for our tools and stuff to create, to share content and do all that with. She was removing my access, but in the front end, they were all smiling to my face and laughing and joking and hee and ha ha and all that. Yeah, fuck you.
Wow.
So I'm going, and I had a feeling something was coming, because I had already started to extract things that I needed out of it. I knew it was coming, so it was no surprise. Basically, at the end of the meeting, you know how Eldora and Siman like to bring us on, or whatever, the Office of Christ. They like to congratulate you and stuff like that. Well, they brought everybody on except for me and Sistara that day, because Sistara, I think, had pissed Eldora off.
Yeah, she had.
Yeah, recently. That shows, some stuff going on with her and Siman or whatever. So that had just happened. So they congratulated every single one of the OC members except for me. Didn't even acknowledge me. And then at the very same time, they were removing my access to everything in the back office.
I just want to give the biggest fucking shout out to the fucking genius son that I have been fucking gifted with in this fucking lifetime, Merlin. Get Merlin on screen. Let's get this troublemaker on screen. He is the one who did all of these musical effects. Merlin,
Hi.
You are the biggest blessing. Honestly, you are every sense of that word, the most beautiful son. My son, I had to ask him to leave because he was that polar opposite of the dark that you are of the light. In every way, in every way, in every way. How much hatred and judgment I felt from him, that much love I feel from you. And words cannot describe what an honor it is for me to work with you. How fucking amazing you are. The day I worked with you on this meditation, guys, this guy is he's the biggest blessing ever. Like, he just took my meditation and all day, all night he cleared himself. He connected with thought. He meditated. He woke up
and went for a jog so he could do this job justice. I just want to give the biggest shout out to everyone. Like, I don't know if we can have 3 people, but Liara, I would love to have Liara on screen. I know she's shy and pregnant, but come on screen, Liara, please. Liara is like Nicole, Amber, like all our Office of Christ team. Literally, we have the dream team. They're not just here for anything. They are here honestly to serve God. They are honestly here to serve God. Liara,
hey, beautiful.
This girl honestly is a superpower, genius, divine gift. And honestly, Nicole has been our rock for the festival. I couldn't do it without you, Nicole. She is replacing me, and I can say that in all my boisterousness, no one can do that. Because of you, we are where we are today with House of Ra. I have 5 weeks left and I have no stress because you are so damn, you're just pre-coded. I always tell her, you're fucking pre-coded. You know, Nicole said something so genius and profound the other day to Sistara. She said, you know, Sister, and we all love each other, so we speak very candidly to each other. She said, you know, Sistara, why are you here in this vortex? Just think about it. Are you here because you love Eldora and Siman? And I was blown away by Nicole's wisdom. Because you know what Nicole said? It blew my mind. She said, if you're just here to love Eldora and Siman, there's a million other people who love them. But are you here to roll up your sleeves and get to work? Are you here to serve the divine? Are you here because you are here to help them? That is what Nicole embodies in her being. I love you guys so much. And for everyone else who's not on the screen, to the Office of Christ team, you guys know who you are. Amber, our latest addition, who we've known from Toronto. I mean, you guys are amazing. Thank you all for being lionesses and lions, because it's not easy. Our vortex is not easy. Sometimes I say to my guides, where are the people who have harmonized their ego? Because we need more people to work with. But most people cannot handle our vortex. They get spun out in days, in seconds, in minutes. You've seen it. People can't, they talk big, but they can't handle it because our vortex is not for anyone that's not a lioness. And that's why we're training all of you guys to harmonize your egos, because this is very powerful.
Okay,
I love you guys.
Next time, we'll see you guys
Bye,
soon.
everybody. We'll think of you when we're having sushi.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
So that lets you know just how dirty they play on the.
They play very dirty.
Oh, dirty. Well, we can play dirty too, but no, we don't even have to play dirty. Our playing dirty here, the purpose again of making this video is to just tell the truth. Okay.
Yes.
Because more people who just know and see the truth, then that's what's going to really hopefully spread this message.
What it was I have to say, I think it was jealousy. And I don't say that about people. Have I had that experience with people in the workplace and my colleagues and things like that? Yeah. I'm used to it. Okay. I'm a talented person and I own it. But guess what? I've worked years. I've worked hard. Okay. My talent doesn't come with ease. It comes with a lot of dedication and determination and my unwilling tenacity and drive to never give up. I keep pushing. That's the kind of person I am. That's what I do. If it bothers you, if it triggers you, get over it. This is who I am. This is who you didn't like. This is who you were triggered by. Eldora. You'll notice I'm mentioning Eldora mostly in this because most of my issues stem with her, but Siman is just as to blame. There's more to come. And just anyone watching this, anyone who's considering whether or not you should support Eldora and Siman, be involved in their mystery school, spend any kind of money with them whatsoever, well, it's up to you. This is my story. I'm documenting it here. And I wanted to make this video particularly for the spiritual community. I'm involved heavily in the spiritual community, in the spiritual arts. Many of you who are seeing this video know me from my public tarot channel at White Crow Tarot. You're seeing this video on this channel, which is unmonetized because I'm not putting this video out here for the purpose of monetization. In fact, that was the agreement. That is the agreement with all the members, the former members of the Office of Christ, anyone who shows their face on camera for this exposed session. We're here to expose a truly radical, pervasive, and maybe even dark force that's out here. I believe that. I'm publishing this video because I think you need to be aware of it. You need to be aware of the dark that is in what we do. Many people in the spiritual arts community, you know what I'm speaking about. There are many of you who are on your path of spiritual enlightenment, going through your own awakenings, and you may come across characters, people, who you may have to really truly question your intuition about. And I want you to know that no matter who you come across in your path, you can at least rely on the testimony here. Let me help you at least identify two people who you should totally walk away from if you come across them. And I hope you listen. I hope this video helps you in some way to determine for yourself to help you with even more conviction on your own path and help you determine right from wrong, dark from light. These are very real forces out here. They're very real energies out here. So, my name is Ebony Wilson. This is Exposed. And signing off now. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps you. Be well.
And I just remember that I come to my senses in like a couple of seconds, and I can just see Siman filming me. And I just knew something was wrong there, because who the fuck would film you while you're going through such a distressing experience?
If you have resonated or have gained any value from this video, please remember to share with your friends, like and support this video, and learn more about our cause at exposeddoc.com. Thank you.